I'm currently listening to the market, or at least trying to, rather than going in knowing what knowing what's going to happen, knowing better than the market. Basically using some kind of model where I look at what has happened before, backtested it, and then go, well, this model says this should happen, and then bet according to that. I mean, it's more complex than that, because the model would typically have a probability of a certain thing happening, and then I'd look for what the market price was, and if the market price was very different to what the model price was, then I'd go, I believe my model over the market. So I'd essentially expect to be smarter than the market, even though the market is millions of people, many of who know far more than I do and have thought about it far more. So for example, in this match, I wouldn't know that much about either of the teams. I don't know the current situation. I don't know whether an important player is injured, whether there are suspensions, manager changes, all kinds of things. So I'm quite limited in my knowledge about this game. But I can look at the odds. And what this says is that Spurs are favourite, because their odds are the lowest. And it doesn't look like a draw is very likely. So this is saying that the market is saying, I expect Spurs to win. The least likely, well, I suppose the least likely is a draw, but I like the fact that the draw is so unlikely, that it's 4.1. That means most likely one of the teams is going to win. If I'm betting on a team to win, I lose if the other team wins or if it's a draw. So, you kind of dismiss the draw. But they happen, as often as the away team winning, typically. But anyway, so the market is saying I expect Spurs to win. The other part that I pay attention to, and that's more recent, like this is something, well, I kind of did, but this has become more important in the last year maybe. That is looking at the score. This gives us far more granular information about what the market expects. So we can see the most likely result is 1-1. Actually, I'll put on a little. That to me would be a hedge bet. So this is the thing. This is the result that I don't expect to happen, but that can often happen. I expect Spurs to win, and I don't expect a draw. But then you end up with a 1-1, and you go, "Oh, I'm so unlucky. I was nearly right." You either win the bet or you don't. So you don't get any points for nearly. But if you add a little hedge bet, that's only €1. But if the worst case happens, at least I get €8 back, and that kind of cushions the blow. There isn't any. So this seems the results that are expected. Firstly, the market size is 64,000. So it's not just only €100. This is a decent market. It's pretty liquid. So to back it's going to be 0-0 or not 0-0. They're all the prices are very close. So that's a pretty liquid market, which suggests it's a more mature, meaningful market. So it looks like 1-1. The other likely ones are 2-1, 2-2. So both teams to score seems to be likely. I can look at. So no, look at 3 goals or more or lower. So this seems to suggest that the market expects a pretty high scoring game. So then I go, So what I did here was I have an order. So I have a €5 bet. If the price goes to 1.82, I'll take that. So if maybe for the first 20 minutes or if the first half hour, nothing much, it's still 0-0, then slowly the price will increase. And then that's when this might get triggered. So I expect that this is the correct odds. So 1.5, I think, most likely, because we saw the most likely results were 2-1, 1-2, 1-all. If I do, I might not get this bet, but if I do, I'm happy to buy it at that price. I like to also look at this market. Basically going, I expect Spurs to win, and I expect there to be 3 or more goals. So this gives me the combination. So I think there's a reasonable chance that this is going to happen. But if I can get 2-1 odds, thank you very much. So this is all based on looking at what the prices are. And we can do likewise for the election. So here we just click on the US elections. Then I want to look at the probability. I'll actually maximize it because no harm in getting a clearer picture. There you are. So we can see that it has gone as low as 1.41. So at that stage, Trump was like very strong favourite. But it's been as high as 21. So, I imagine if I'd made a small bet at 21. But what this is saying is that Trump began very low. Because remember, at that stage, he had lawfare was going on. There were multiple legal cases against him, which have all collapsed. So as his probability got better and better, I think roughly around there, well, that might have been the first assassination attempt. Then at that stage, the Democrats basically they dumped Biden because it looked like Trump was going to win. They managed to level things up, and Harris became the favourite. The initial bump. But then that didn't really gain momentum. And then Trump started moving up again. Looking at the price, if this was a share or something, if Trump was in an uptrend, in a bull market, you're looking for higher highs and higher lows. So say here we had a high, a low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. But now, so I thought, this is higher high, we're going for a higher high. But instead, is this a double top? Well, it's not exactly at the same level. In a way, I'd like it to be, up to 70 to call it a double top. But you could draw a trend line if you were looking at a share or a currency or something. So actually, it's not as clear. So this is obviously moving up, but it's run into some resistance. It wasn't able to smash through and produce a higher high. Time will tell. So now it has dropped back down a bit. It's very close to 50-50 now. Trump is still is favourite, but as I said, it's closer. So the market isn't telling me Trump's going to win or Harris is going to win. it's in kind of consolation, or forgetting the word. So that's what I see when looking at the price action currently. What I want to do is record another video in maybe a week, maybe a month, to look back to see what happened, and then compare that to what I thought was going to happen. So then we can kind of go, oh yeah, that worked out. No, that was rubbish. I thought this was going on. That was not. That was actually wrong because. So, that'll be a cleaner video. Like, this is more something when it's a work in progress. So I want to come back to. So like when in that I look back again video, I'll probably summarize and basically be more concise in what I was thinking, while this video is more a work in progress. So I recorded the initial part separately, and then added it to the video that I made the other day. So that's as much as I'm going to make for this video, leaving the review part in the second one, when I look back at how accurate what I said in this video turned out to be. The election is just around the corner. I still have fond memories of the US elections, because we called Trump winning in 2016. The thinking then was that the odds were incredibly on the side of Hillary. And I reckoned that from what I could see, it was closer than the markets were saying. And that made it better. To me, it was very close. So if the odds were 50-50, then I wouldn't know what to do. But I think it was something like 5-1. So that meant if I lost, I'd lose very little. And if I won, I'd win. Well, again, I wasn't betting a fortune, but I'd win more. It made it worthwhile. It made it attractive. So what about this time? Why did I think that I'd somehow magically know what was going to happen? Because I know very little about American politics. I have no magical data source that's going to tell me, why would I know what's going to happen? I mean, vast sums of money are involved here. Even on this betting market, you can see that over 130 million has been bet on this. And I'm talking about, maybe €100. So, putting things in perspective. But mathematically, it doesn't matter. It's an interesting problem. Basically, I got in at about evens. So I basically get to double my money if Trump wins. But I reckon that Trump was going to win. Again, what was that based on? How would I know that? So, it's when you try and justify it, when you try and make a video like this, you can kind of look at it in a more detached manner and go, that doesn't make sense. You're talking rubbish. So I have it set on average odds. So I bet at basically evens. I get to double my money if Trump wins. But if I deselect average, we can see the details. And you can see, where did it go? Odds here. I thought there weren't. There are more here. I'm trying to see how I go down. Because basically, these bets. Basically, I got some bets when the odds were like 4-1, something like that. They were more attractive odds. Can't see it here. Because since the average odds are order by matched. So here I got 2.2 better than evens. Anyway, maybe refresh. That's unfortunate. I did have all the bets before. Here it is. So I got odds of 5 to 1 earlier on. But since I didn't know what was going on, I had no method, like on what basis was I going to forecast what was going to happen. So I wasn't going to jump in with more money right at the start, because at 5 to 1 there was 4.9, 4.6. At this stage, it was dipping my toe in the water, dipping my toes in it. But then I started looking, because at that stage you didn't know whether, because you had multiple legal cases going on. Was Trump going to end up in prison? Was it a case of massive lawfare, corruption, using lawfare, using the legal system to try and oppose your political opposition, kind of South American style? So it was at the information gathering stage. Then it looked like again the popularity of Biden was very low. Economically things weren't looking great. But again, that's a complex thing. So yes, you have all the dodgy business to do with what the unemployment data was, the massive corrections involved. So again, what do I know? I don't have any magic. I don't have any special source of information. Why would I? But anyway, I gradually, once the legal cases seemed to disappear, then I could kind of go, okay, it looks like there might be an election after all. Like if it looks like Trump's going to make it to be one of the options. By that stage, it looked like Trump was going to, basically Trump won the Republican, he became the Republican candidate. So, this was all going on. There was a lot of uncertainty. I don't know at what stage you had the first assassination attempt. Then you're suddenly going, you're getting more reports about, these getting broader support, that people will flock to back him. So then it became more attractive. So as time went by, that was probably the assassination attempt was around about probably here. So that's how I basically gradually built up my position backing Trump, because I reckon the odds were probably going to be biased or against him. So there was probably more value in backing him. But again, could I actually explain that? Could I justify that? I felt like it was reasonable, but can't think of a concrete explanation or solid reasons behind doing this. I'm in a decent position now because, as I said, I got average odds of 1.97, while the current odds are 1.56. So if I just take €132 worth of bets, I can end up, I'll make money if Trump wins, and I don't lose any money. So I'll show you here. So if I did say lay, and I did 132, then we can see that if Trump wins, I make €51, and otherwise I don't lose anything. So that's so I get a guaranteed €50 profit. Not bad, because I only started with say about 130, so I nearly make 40% profit. I can just get it now, or do I want to hold on and try and make 125? That is the question actually. Why not end up with this bet? Say if Trump wins, I'll get €51, and I've nothing to lose. While the way I'm positioned at the moment, I can make €125, but I could lose 132. So something to think about. But they're just thoughts, because as I said, no one knows what's going to happen. Even on the day, who's going to end up turning up to vote. Some people are going to change their minds. Who knows? I don't anyway. Another thought was betting on the electoral college votes, because basically it's low odds backing Trump to win. I mean, at the moment at 1.56, I don't think I would. Because I mean, the risk reward is like I only make 50% profit or whatever, and I can lose. If I lose it all. So it's not a kicking and screaming bet. While if I do this, if I look at the electoral college votes, I was attracted to this one. Because I listened to Garland Nixon. You should look him up on YouTube. He's on Rumble. Because on one of his chats, he mentioned the possibility of perhaps Trump winning a landslide. His rationale was that the people, that's what he's getting, the impression he's getting from the people he's interacted with. Basically, the Democrats traditionally got the black vote, while Trump is getting a lot of the black vote. Because he is associating, he's doing far more for the working class, which is what who Garland Nixon is primarily supportive of. He himself is basically not a fan of either Trump or Harris. So I think he's gone for, what's her name? Michael Buck, the Green Party president. But it was just a fact that if Trump gets a big win, and the rationale there, another one I heard was, I remember way back, this is in the UK, people thought that Labour were going to win. But in the end, the Tories did. And one of the things, the explanations, was that a lot of people who said that they weren't going to vote Tory, because Tories were despised or disliked because they were so bad, they were so unkind, harsh to people who needed support. I mean, basically they were not nice. But you paid lower taxes, and for a lot of individuals, they would go, actually, for me, the Tories are better. I might have this is the good thing is the abstract thing of Labour are for a more ideal society, but I'll get a better house, my life will be better for my kids. So on an individual level, for me, I support more what the Tories were saying. So that there was a big gap in between what the polls were saying and what actually happened. And so there's a sense of is that there's some element of that, or something like that could be going on in America at the moment. That people who are Trump supporters feel embarrassed. It's socially awkward for them to be a Trump supporter. I mean, it could be that since historically the black vote went to the Democrats. So then if you kind of go, well, it was better for me when Trump was there, yeah, things were better. So they might not feel comfortable actually saying that out loud, because in their community, that wasn't what you did. You didn't need any explanation for it. That was the historical thing. Anyway, that was just a cheeky thought. I kind of, what if this thing which nobody is expecting, except maybe Garland Nixon, who mentioned it as a thought. It wasn't that this is what he has a strong conviction of, and that but it was a thought. And so that was in my mind. I had heard somebody say that he could imagine Trump getting a Reagan landslide victory. Reagan got well over 500, so 360 is not Reagan levels. The thing here is that since the price was 29, so 28 to 1, I'm not saying this is what I think is going to happen. I only need to bet €4 to make over 100. So it makes it an interesting bet. So what I did here was go, okay, I'll only make 1.5 if I bet on Trump to win. But if I bet on the electoral college, then I can get better odds. So then I went, okay, I was going to get €110, but I went, well, what if I spread it out a bit? So then I kind of did it that, okay, if Trump gets a big win, so if it's 360 or more, I'll make €85. If it's over 300, again, that's big, because a lot of things, a lot of people, like a lot of projections, would be below this. The main thing is over 270. So 300, it's still aggressive. You're saying that this is going to be a big, a clear, a decisive Trump win. Because as I speak, we don't know whether it's going to be a Trump win or a Harris win. We'll get onto that a bit. So basically, this is a bit of adding a bit of spice to the bet. This will add significant amount. It'll make it a more interesting, a bigger win. Again, come back here. I don't know whether I should keep it like this, because actually that looked nice. If I do the since on Betfair you can be the person making a bet, or you can accept bets. So if I accept bets on Trump, I can do it that if Trump wins, I'll win €51, and if he doesn't, I don't lose anybody. So like that is pretty attractive. And if Trump wins by a bigger amount, well, I've got this bet to kind of cover that angle. So no, I'll think about that one. They've added more now. Even when I looked at this earlier, because now they've got handicap betting. Will the election winner lose the popular vote? It's saying yes. But to me, oh no, sorry, the favourite is no. That's interesting. So, because I think, well, I thought the thing was that if you were, the Democrats were more likely to win the popular vote, but since the Democrats typically win the really big states, like, basically California, New York, I suppose Texas is the other big one, and that was normally Republican. Anyway, so you've got handicap betting. So if I look at this one, that's an interesting one. So this is Trump minus 29.5. I don't know, because the odds are better than 1.5. So anyway, if I were to bet on Trump to win now, remember I started earlier on, I got 5-to-1 odds. 5.0s, which is 4-to-1. Anyway, so if I do this, I at least get to perhaps double my money. But I would say, why make this bet when I could have just done it on the electoral college one? So if I could do this one. But I suppose the handicap one would cover all these. So it's not the same as just betting on 300 to 329. So it still kind of makes sense. Time to move on since I mumbled on a bit longer than I expected. I'll get there in the end, sorry. So basically I remember real clear polling from 2016. What I like here is, so you can see now the average, and I kind of like the average, right? You have many of them, and that gives you a better signal. Kind of from we looked at machine learning before, and ensemble averages and that kind of stuff. So Trump is in the lead by 0.4. So it's betting odds are saying 1.5. That's more or less, that's a pretty strong. That's a favour. That's not a 50-50. Well, 0.4 is basically noise. It's basically level. That's not a kicking and screaming clear signal. I like that they have this. So you can see Clinton was plus 4.3. Of course, she lost. So if 4.3 can lose, that's a far stronger signal than 0.4. Biden was plus 7.9. Green won. But Trump is nowhere near that. He's only at 0.4. So this gives, a good picture of what the data is saying. If I was to try and scientifically, systematically, if I was going, tell me, so what's going to happen? Well, this is what I try and do. I try and get polls and get a measurement, get a sense of what's going on. And what this is saying is it's 50-50. You can look at the toss-up states, electoral colleges from the polls. And that's giving quite a clear signal, that Trump is quite ahead. So I don't really understand what this no toss-up states thing means. I assume that means that you've got a handful of toss-up states, so the ones that are very close. I assume that they would be the swing states, the ones that you're unclear on, or where you're unsure what the result is going to be. And you're assuming that if you have, say, 10 unclear states, since they're basically the best way to treat that is to go, they're all 50-50 and it'll average out. So you don't really know what's going to happen there. So we'll assume that they're as I said, that the toss-up states are basically going to cancel themselves out. So then you kind of go, Trump's well in the lead, which would match with the odds being 1.5. That you feel that basically we expect Trump to win. But if I just look at the electoral college map thing, So you just click here. That's how I got it, and that's the. I'll probably put that link in the description below the video, so you can see it yourself. You can see that Harris is 211 and Trump is 219. Very close. The toss-ups are 108, so it's not a small amount. It's not like you have 20 are toss-up states. Toss-up states are a significant portion of electoral colleges. So to basically go, oh well, we'll ignore those and just look at these two. I mean, it's that doesn't really calm me. That doesn't make it clear to me, make it obvious to me that Trump is well in the lead. And I don't know whether you can just go no toss-up. To know whether it's sensible to just ignore the toss-up states. I imagine what happens in an election is the country's mood swings in a certain direction, and suddenly what you thought was that we're not toss-up states who cancel each other. Actually, when you have the election, you see they are largely pointing in a certain direction. I remember normally we wouldn't really have significant third-party people. So Steen is like the Green Party. She's supposed to get a lot of seats in, say, Michigan or whatever, and so there's stuff going on. Even the stuff like, say, Kennedy, so he's only running in places which won't take votes away from Trump. So there's a coordinated strategy going on there, which I don't know whether that's being kind of captured or reflected in these polls or this kind of analysis, because that normally wouldn't have been the case. There wouldn't be historical things to compare it with. So I thought this was kind of interesting as well, because this is kind of showing, because I remember these. Actually, off the top of my head, I remember Monmouth work is really good before, probably in 2016 when I was looking at it. I think that Rasmussen might have been good as well, but I think I did a video on that around 2016. But here, you've got the average error, so I think that's going to be dependent, proportional to the sample size and that kind of stuff. But you can see here as well how many states they pulled, because you would like all of them to be done. So most of them are only a handful, so it's a small sample of states. And even I'd like to know which states. So it'd be interesting if they just looked at, say, the toss-up states, or I don't know. I'd kind of want to know a bit more. It doesn't fill me with confidence. They're all pretty small. This is the biggest one. NBC News. CBS. But what we can see here, error favored Democrats. We can see that, so here's the big one, 76% error on the side of CBS. Likewise, Monmouth, who I remember they were one of the good ones, but that was a vague memory. But 84%. So a lot of these have, like New York Times, have significant errors in favor of Democrats. So that would kind of suggest to me that if they are saying that the result is 50-50, and that they all tend to be, the answer they give tends to they tend to overcount the Democrats and undercount the Republicans, something like that. So when you look at the historically, it's significant. It's not 52%, 48. It's 80%, 84%, 83%. So that's not an error. That's you are being biased. You're being sloppy. You shouldn't have your job if you are polling and your results are so wrong. I mean, the one I remember is you hear the story about Gallup, who basically earlier on they were the early people to do kind of systematic, kind of scientific or statistical polling. So basically, you had a magazine, and they had like maybe a sample size of say 2 million, and Gallup had a sample size of like 2,000. But Gallup did randomized. They sampled unbiased way. They tried to get people from all around the country or all around the state, so that they weren't the one where basically the other poll, which had like a sample of 2 million, was taken from a Republican group. So it's like if you ask 2 million Republicans who are you going to vote for, you'd imagine that most of them are going to say Republican. And then you'd say, oh, well, from our sample of 2 million, we found, you're going, well, that's, you didn't ask any of the Democrats. How are you going to get any you have no idea how many Democrats are going to vote if you don't ask anyone. So that was way back. I just am surprised that that kind of dodgy stuff is still going on. I mean, this is before that was. I don't think people were familiar with these kind of ideas about having to sample from an appropriate population, that kind of stuff. Anyone from doing even any basic classes in school or college should know how to not do this. Like that would be you shouldn't pass your first year statistics course like if you're still at this level. So then, what faith can I have in any of these figures? For me, the takeaway is that all these polls are significantly biased in favor of Democrats. So if even they are saying that Trump is in the lead, yes, I know only by 0.4, but to be 0.4 in the lead when the polls are massively in favor of the Democrats, that suggests that Trump could be massively ahead, which would match with what Carter Nixon was suggesting. So, something to think about. I don't know. I look back on this later and go, what did we learn from this? So that when we're betting on the next election, you can kind of go, okay, now we know that these polls are rubbish. So that's pretty much it. Where do I end up here? I suppose my homework is, do I stick with this bet, or do I want to end up with a bet where I don't lose anything if Harris wins? My gut feeling is to just keep things like this. I'll see. I'm more interested in Bitcoin at the moment. I mean, it's now moved into, it just smashed through to a new all-time high, which means we're up in price discovery mode, and it can we don't know how high it can go. From Plan B, if you go on Twitter, like Plan B is good, like a long, well-established track record, and basically my thinking is that Bitcoin could go to something like 150,000 by the end of the year. It should. His thing was it should average 250,000 during the following year. So my rough idea or my basic framework is I'm expecting to maybe go up to 150. Do I sell half then? It might dip. You know, I might be able to get it at down at maybe 120,000 or something. You know, get it at a 20% discount, and then it'll make the final move during 2025. Basically, Plan B was saying that it is very volatile. So his line was something like, his baseline was something like 200, it was 500,000. And basically he was saying that baseline, you don't know, the price can go to double the baseline. So it could go to a million, or it might peak at 250,000. So, you don't have that kind of magic, you don't have fine resolution when you're talking about Bitcoin. I mean, this is during the bull market. It should explode to some magic level. And even if you say from before, say it peaks around a million, but it'll peak at a million for like a couple of hours or maybe a day. So it'll be shooting up, and then everyone will be flying by, and it'll just go higher and higher and higher. And you go, and then you lose all sense of what's going on. And then when it's at a million, you go, it's going to go to 10 million, and you'll be, and that was the error. So basically, have the plan before. So I'm basically hoping to get out at something like 250,000. If it gets to 250,000, okay, I might miss the peak, but I'll have to say thank you very much, because I would have been happy with the returns made. Because you want to get these things planned and sorted out, clear in your head in advance, as opposed to as things unfold, because then you just keep the emotional thing can kick in, which is a disaster. On the other hand, as well, that you have, this is more bread and butter, football betting. So as you can see here, I just bet €15. I'll do the average odds that Man United were going to win, and that there would be 3 or more goals. So it ended up 5-2. Excellent. So that means I win €14. But there are so many opportunities all over the place. Why be so committed? What's the attraction? What's the point of allocating too much money on this when you can basically double your money on a just random game. The reason I did this one was because I reckon that United were going to win. They have a new manager. We play more attacking football, like that. And so basically this seemed like the attractive, sensible bet. What I did was, because the odds were 1.7 something, so I put in, like on Betfair you can say, I'm willing to pay 1.85. If it's 1.85, I'll take that bet. So I had basically about €5 or €10, no, €5. Oh, it's 15. Oh yeah. So if I had €5 at 1.85, because I thought they might score very early on, in which case I wouldn't get any bet. And then I had €10 if it went up to W1 odds. And I got them. I want to see what happened because I'm an Arsenal supporter. Yay, 3-0, perfect. Because I did likewise. I thought that Arsenal would win and it would be 3 or more goals. But again, I didn't know whether. So I basically did €10 if I got double your money odds, and I put in a €5 if I got 2.5. Because again, if they scored early on, there's a good chance that I neither of these bets. I'd never get such high odds. But I did. And they've already won. They're 3-0 up. The game's not even over yet. But so I risked €15 and I won 17. So that means you can just pick up double your money odds on games you hadn't even thought about beforehand, just looking at what's going on now. And that is kind of better returns. While in this case, well, it's good track record wise, because I wanted to do this so that I could say, look, and people say, oh, I never thought Trump was going to win. That's crazy. Well, I thought it was clear that he was going to win. And I could say why. And I'd just be happy. Because I suppose at the end of the day, when we look here, we can see that, so we can see from the polls that Trump is in the lead. But we know that this is not a significant number. It's only 0.4. While Clinton was 4.3 ahead and lost. Biden was 7.9, but won. I'm not mentioning anything about any legal cases and whatever in this election. So Trump is only 0.4 ahead, but given that we know that nearly all these pollsters have an awful track record of overstating the Democrat numbers massively, not like 52%, like 54% is, to my mind, acceptable. That's pretty good. I mean, you're not going to be perfectly right. So Emerson then is my favorite, is the best one. Susquehanna 46 is also good. So those two are kind of best in class. Remington also good. So that way we can pick out which ones seem to have actually done their homework, which ones have actually learned how to take polls and actually report. Like what they say tends to be close to what actually happens. So where you guys can see the vast bulk of them are not like that. Only a handful are actually good. So we know that only a handful are actually good, but nearly all of them massively overreport the Democrats' numbers. And that being the case, to get to be 0.4, now it's only 0.1. It was 0.4 earlier on. Oh no, this is the Michigan vote. Sorry, that's not the. Sorry, 1 second. It was the average. To be 0.4 ahead, when you know that the Democrat numbers are significantly boosted, would suggest that Trump is actually several percent ahead, which matches with what the betting markets are saying, and that matches with the possibility of a bigger win for Trump. So if he ends up with something like this, if he ends up with, well, obviously if he gets 360 plus, that's a nice payday, but even if he gets 300 to 329, that's very nice as well. So that's how I'm positioned. Yeah, so I'm sticking with, I'm not hedging, because I think that Trump is actually significantly in the lead, and the reason I think that is because the polls have an established track record of misreporting the figures for underreporting the figures for Republicans and boosting the figures for Democrats. Could be wrong. Yeah, something to pass the time. that's great. So then I get 17 from there. That's about €30, which is handy enough. And the important thing there is I thought, because I remember talking, Spurs had beaten City before, but that was when with a different manager and stuff. But the thing there was I did. Sorry, getting distracted. I also, as you can see, I also bet that Liverpool were going to win. So what happened there? So I just bet €5 at 2.4. So again, not bad on the football betting side. There's no rush. I could kind of go, oh, yeah, that went well, but why do you only bet €5? Because there are countless football matches on. You can just at any moment just pick out a match, see where the value is, where you're well paid for the risk you're taking on. I think that's it for this. I think that's why because primarily I just wanted to record this, so to have it out, so that it's on record. Yep. So now we just have to wait for the actual election, or more importantly, I suppose, for the results.